For most of us, starting a new job can be confusing and even a bit stressful. There's so much to learn: payroll forms, work hours, how to clock in and out, where the break room is, what benefits to sign up for, the names of all your coworkers, and, of course, your new job itself. It can be hard to keep track of everything, and no one expects you to remember everything right away. But as you do your best to get started, there is one part of your job that you need to make a priority, and that's safety. Your safety is very important. In fact, safety was at the top of the list when the company designed this facility, chose the equipment, bought all the tools and supplies, and even decided how every job, including yours, should be done. There are all kinds of things in place to keep you safe, but unless you take personal responsibility for your safety, all the equipment, processes, and tools in the world won't do much good to keep you from getting hurt. That's why you are watching this video today. You need some basic information that will help you be aware of potential safety risks you could run into on the job, and then give you some advice on what to do to stay safe and reduce your risk of getting hurt. So what does it mean to be aware of potential safety risks? It means looking around your work area from all directions, seeing what's there, and asking yourself some very basic questions like, is there something I could trip on? Could I slip and fall? Is what I have to move heavy? Could I strain my back? Could something swing around and hit me? Fall on top of me? Knock me over? Do I really know how to use this tool? Operate the equipment? Use these materials? Do I need help with this job? Being risk-aware also means doing a safety assessment every time you do something, not just the first time. Things change, get moved around, wear out, or get damaged. So even if you've done a job hundreds of times, you need to remain safety aware. After you do your assessment, ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen if I don't do something about what I'm seeing? If the answer is, I could get hurt or one of my coworkers could get hurt, then if you know how to do it safely, fix the situation immediately. If you can't do it yourself or don't know how, then get help. As a new employee, you may feel uncomfortable calling out a problem or admitting that you're not sure how to do something. Well, please, don't let that stop you. If you're not completely comfortable with what's going on, talk to your supervisor. Remember, your first priority on your new job is safety. So get in the habit of doing your safety awareness inspection right away. Then keep it up every day so you and your family are 100% confident that working here is a safe bet. In your job, you might need to wear PPE, personal protective equipment. It's important that you know how to use it. PPE protects parts of your body that could be exposed to hazards. What you need to wear, when you wear it, and how to use it will depend on where you work and what you do. Let's take a quick look at personal protective equipment. Noise can be a big problem. Matter of fact, noise-induced hearing loss is the #1 occupational disability. Think about that. #1. Over time, hearing loss can get worse and worse, and bad news, it's permanent. But it's also preventable. Use the 3-foot rule. If you have to raise your voice so someone an arm's length away can hear you, the noise level is too high and most likely hazardous. That's when you need to wear hearing protection. Your company may protect your hearing with earmuffs or earplugs. All of these will protect your hearing if you're using them the way they're supposed to be used. Plugs need to be inserted correctly, and muffs or other types of hearing protection need to be worn so they seal out the noise. Your job is to wear it every single time. For some jobs, you'll need gloves. Not just any gloves. You need gloves that are specially designed to protect your hands when you're doing your job. At times, your hands may have to deal with something that's sharp, hot, or corrosive. Unprotected hands can be injured, so you need to use the right glove for the job. Lightweight gloves work fine for keeping your hands clean around oil, paint, grease, or detergents. Good quality cloth gloves protect you from abrasion. If you're dealing with splinters or sharp objects like sheet metal or metal burrs, you're going to want to protect your hands with cut-resistant gloves. For hot materials, there are gloves that can take the heat. Working with chemicals, it just got a little more complicated. See, some chemicals can go right through certain types of gloves, and those chemicals can get absorbed right through your skin and affect your health. Or the product you are working with can strip away the protective oils on your skin. Then you're looking at a skin disease called dermatitis. Check with your supervisor for the gloves you need for the chemical hazards in your work area. Next, make sure the gloves fit. If they're too loose, they just make your work harder and can also get caught on equipment. On the other hand, if your gloves are too tight, they can cut off your circulation. Now that you have the right pair and they fit, your gloves still got to be in good shape. A hole or tear, get rid of them. And if the chemical you're working with makes your gloves sticky or discolored, it might be time for a change. When it comes to preventing hand injuries, you need to have the right pair of gloves. They need to be in good condition to do their job, and you need to use them every time when your hands are at risk. For some jobs, there's a chance of falling objects that could land on your head. That's when you're going to need a hard hat. The shell and suspension system in your hard hat is specially designed to absorb the force of a blow. Make sure it fits comfortably and won't fall off if you lean over. If it doesn't fit right, you can adjust your hard hat. Just don't tamper with the suspension or modify the shell. Always wear a hard hat with the suspension adjustment in the back. If you need to reverse the hard hat to see things overhead, or if you are wearing a welding hood attachment, be sure to reverse the suspension. You're also going to want to keep your hard hat clean. Replace it if it's damaged, and don't go crazy with stickers that might cover up any damage. So don't depend on your skull to protect your brain. Use a hard hat. Every day, hundreds of people damage their eyes, and when you lose your vision, it changes your life forever. There are a lot of ways you can hurt your eyes. Safety glasses are impact resistant and protect your eyes from the flying objects that you didn't see coming. Don't forget the side shields. Safety glasses are available in lots of different shapes, styles, and sizes. If your eye protection doesn't fit properly, try a different pair. And when you're welding, torch cutting, and brazing or doing laser work, that radiant energy, glare, and intense light can be harmful. If you're working near welding or cutting, use tinted safety glasses. But if you're doing the actual welding or cutting, you need welding goggles or a helmet with approved protective filters. If you're working around heavier concentrations of particles in the air or hazardous liquids that can splash, goggles offer better protection. And if splashes or particles are flying all over the place, you can add a face shield over your safety glasses. If your eye protection gets scratched or damaged, replace it. Your supervisor can tell you what eye protection you need for your job, where to get it, and how to use it correctly. If you hurt your feet or toes on the job, you could miss time from work. Protective shoes and boots have a reinforced toe cap to protect your toes from things that roll, shift, or drop. To protect the bottom of your feet, puncture-resistant insoles help protect you from sharp objects on the job site. If there's a chance you could slip, wear boots or shoes with soles that grip. Liquid-proof boots keep your feet dry. And if you're dealing with corrosive chemicals, your boots have got to be resistant to those specific chemicals. When your boots start wearing out, so does their protection. When they're worn or damaged, get a new pair. Just remember to use the right protective footwear to keep you safely on your feet. When you're on the job, you may be working in areas that have contaminants in the air that you don't want up your nose or in your lungs. Chemicals, dust, and other airborne hazards that can affect your health. Assuming that the air you are breathing has enough oxygen, a good choice for protection is an air purifying respirator. When worn correctly, these respirators use the power of your own chest muscles to draw air through a filter. The filter might be a simple facepiece style or respirator equipped with a set of cartridges specifically designed for the contaminants in your work area. But before you go and strap on a respirator, you'll need to be cleared by a healthcare professional. A health history review is generally all that is needed. That way your employer knows that you are able to safely use one. Your employer will then show you how to use respiratory protection, like how you need to use both straps, how to check the seal, and how to maintain, clean, and store it correctly. Air purifying respirators like these depend on a good seal between the respirator facepiece and the skin on your face where the respirator touches. For you guys out there who can grow a beard, you'll need to keep this area cleanly shaved when you're using a respirator. Otherwise, contaminated air can leak past the filter or cartridges and right into your lungs. The filter media or cartridges on your respirator won't last forever. Your supervisor will let you know how often you need to change it or replace it to assure that you're protected. To stay healthy, always wear a respirator when the air is contaminated. Wear it properly and take care of it so it works for you. There are going to be times on your job when you'll be lifting or moving materials. There's the right way and the wrong way. The wrong way can result in you getting hurt, and we do not want that to happen here. The way to move materials without getting hurt means using good body mechanics. That's the techniques of lifting, pushing, and pulling that use your muscles in a way that reduces stress on your body and minimizes your risk of injury. Let's start with a quick review of lifting. Even with the best technique, if something is too heavy and beyond your capability, you're going to get hurt. So check the weight of what you are about to lift. Don't try to be a hero and lift more than you can. A hero with a back injury doesn't do anyone any good. If the weight you're lifting is more than you can handle, either reduce the weight, get someone to help, or use a tool to help you, like a hand truck or pallet jack. If you can lift it, do it the right way. First, start with a stable stance, feet about shoulder width apart. Keep the load close to your body. Keep your back arched, your head up, and bend at the knees. Lift using your legs in one smooth motion. If you're lifting or lowering materials onto a pallet, straddle the pallet corner with your feet. Again, with the load close to your body, keep your back arched, your head up, bend at the knees, and lift using your legs. To change directions, turn your whole body by shifting your feet. If your workstation is adjustable, adjust it so you're not in an awkward position. If you don't know how, ask your supervisor for help. When you find yourself working in the same position for long stretches of time, move or stretch, or just get up and walk a little. If you have to use a lot of force to get the job done, see if there's a different, better way to do it, or if using a tool or device can make it easier. If not, switch to a different task for a while. To sum it up, you need to be aware of how to do your job and how it affects your body. Then you need to use the best tool or technique that minimizes stress on your body and keeps you from getting hurt. Believe it or not, many injuries on the job can come from something you do every day, and that's simply walking. Think about it. You walk a lot. You walk to and from your car or the bus stop. You walk to your work area, the break room, and restrooms. You may walk up and down stairs, and in your travels, you may even end up walking on slippery floors, uneven surfaces, or even through cluttered areas. Most slips, trips, and falls are caused by slippery conditions, hazards in your path, or wearing improper footwear. Floors can get slippery from all kinds of things: water, grease, oil, product spills, and even from debris like sand or dirt that doesn't get cleaned up. To stay on your feet when you're on a slippery surface, take small steps and avoid accelerating or changing directions quickly. That's the easy part. What often catches you off guard is the transition from dry to slippery surfaces. If you don't see that greasy spot and don't change your stride, your foot slips and you take a fast ride to the ground. This is especially true when you're focused on your work. If you're concentrating on what you're doing and walking on a nice dry surface, you might not realize you're on a slippery surface. Your feet go out from under you and suddenly you are looking at the ceiling. If you have any reason to believe the floor could be slippery, take your time and be aware. If you see a spill or something that creates a slippery area, clean it up immediately if you can, or tell your supervisor about it so they can get it taken care of. You also need to look out for hazards as you move around your work area. Boxes, materials, trash, a forgotten tool, a hose or electrical cord, broken tiles, ripped carpet, even someone doing maintenance work. Anything that could trip you up or cause a slip can be dangerous. Again, keep your eyes open and stay aware of your surroundings. If the hazard needs to be cleaned up, fixed, moved, or just marked, do it immediately, or tell someone who can make sure it gets taken care of right away. If you have to deal with slippery surfaces as part of your job, wearing the proper footwear can really help you stay on your feet. That means wearing shoes with slip-resistant soles. Take a look at your boots or shoes. Are the soles getting smooth? If so, you could be set up to take a fall. It may be time to invest in new footwear. Another slip, trip, and fall hazard is getting in and out of vehicles, especially trucks. It's easy to swing open the door and hop out. A fall from a truck can quickly turn into a major injury if you hit your head, wrench your back, twist your ankle, or blow out your knee. Before you step out, look down at the ground to see what you are about to step onto. Have your hands in a position to grip the door, seat, or steering wheel, and your other foot on the truck floor. Then carefully plant one foot on the ground. You want to maintain three-point contact at all times. That means 3 of your 4 limbs are always firmly gripping or planted on a solid surface. If your work requires you to use a ladder, you are also in danger of slipping or falling if you don't take necessary precautions. Setting up the ladder properly will also go a long way in preventing falls. Step ladders should be positioned so you are directly facing your work rather than turning your body sideways. All 4 feet need to be on a stable, level surface that is not slippery. Extension ladders must be positioned using the 4-to-1 rule. That means that the base of the ladder is 1 foot away from the structure for every 4 feet of height. Climb all ladders slowly and maintain 3 points of contact by moving only 1 limb at a time. Avoid carrying tools or materials up a ladder. Have a coworker hand them to you or use a hand line to raise them up. Maintain 3 points of contact at all times and don't reach to do your work. Climb down and move the ladder. Never rock or walk a ladder while you are on it. Most slips, trips, and falls can be avoided by being safety aware. Make sure you are aware of all of your walking surfaces. Take small, deliberate steps on slippery floors. Wear shoes or boots with slip-resistant soles. Look out for any hazards as you move about and use the right ladders in the right way. If you ever encounter a situation where you believe you or a coworker could slip, trip, or fall, fix the situation immediately if you can do it safely, or let your supervisor know about it so it can get taken care of right away. A lot of companies use powered industrial trucks like forklifts, reach trucks, order pickers, or powered pallet jacks. Now, we're going to assume you are not actually going to be running this equipment. That's a whole nother training program. What we will do is teach you how to work safely when you're in a workplace that has forklifts. Every year, thousands are injured in forklift incidents. They're often serious. Some folks have even been disabled or killed. Most people don't know this, but forklifts are twice as heavy as most cars. Twice as heavy. So if you get hit by one, even if it's moving slowly, you're in for some serious hurt. So, how do you safely work around forklifts? First of all, stay out of the way. But it's more than just that. Forklifts don't maneuver like cars. With rear-wheel steering, they have a very small turning radius. That means the rear end of the thing swings out wider. And that makes walking past or standing near a turning forklift dangerous. People who are operating forklifts have limited visibility. We like to call them blind spots. For example, the forks in the lifting mechanism can block the driver's line of vision. And if the driver has a load, well, that line of vision just got even smaller. And think about this. Forklift drivers are always checking paperwork, using computers, and concentrating on their load. So they can get focused on what they're doing, and they can sometimes forget to look out for pedestrians. That's why you always assume the driver doesn't see you, because if they don't and you get hit, you will lose that forklift encounter. When you see a forklift, always try to establish eye contact with the driver. Don't try to sneak by real quick. It doesn't work. Wait for him or her to give you direction so you know where to move so you won't get hit. Here are a few more things to think about when you're working near forklifts. Look both ways or check the safety mirrors before you step out from an aisle or from around a corner. If your work area is noisy and if you're wearing hearing protection, you might not hear a forklift coming, especially if it's powered by a battery. So train yourself to listen for horns or warning sounds and always watch where you are walking. And finally, never stand underneath a load. Something could fall and make a big impression on your head. Keep all these tips in mind and you'll be able to work around forklifts safely. If you're going to be working with chemicals, you'll need to know about hazard communication. Hazard communication is your company's program that provides you with the information you need so you can safely and properly use these chemicals. Your employer has created a chemical inventory of all the hazardous materials in your workplace, reviewed methods for controlling hazards when they're used, and developed a detailed program to provide you with training on the hazards you may face. This includes how to protect yourself with the right personal protective equipment and what to do if there's accidental exposure. Now, let's talk about chemical labels. All chemicals come in a container. Every one of those containers coming from the manufacturer will have a label with a lot of important information. There's the product identifier, that's the name of the product, and the manufacturer or supplier. Shipping name, shipping numbers, and part numbers. The emergency phone number. There's the signal word and the hazard statements. You might see a pictogram along with the precautionary statements. Because the pictogram is pretty important, let's take a closer look at it. A pictogram is a symbol that represents a word or an idea. You see them all the time. When you see a pictogram on a chemical label, it represents the hazard of the product. A chemical can have one or more hazards, so it can have one or more pictograms. The pictograms everyone uses are from the Globally Harmonized System of Classification and Labeling of Chemicals, or simply GHS. This one is health hazard. Chemicals that are labeled with this pictogram might affect specific organs of your body or might have long-term health effects, like asthma or cancer. When you see the flame pictogram, it means that the chemical you're dealing with is flammable, self-reactive, or self-heating. Flame over O for oxidizer. This indicates it could cause organic materials to combust. When you see this exclamation point, it means the chemical you're dealing with is an irritant or a skin sensitizer. Next, gas cylinder. You see that gas cylinder pictogram, and you know you're dealing with gases under pressure. This is an exploding bomb for explosives. Here, you're dealing with explosives, self-reactives, and organic peroxides. This symbol is for corrosives. This means it's a chemical that can eat away your flesh or your equipment. Environmental toxicity is next. You don't want this chemical to spill on the ground or go down the drain. Finally, the last pictogram is skull and crossbones for acute toxicity. This tells you the product is toxic. You need to know what you are doing and how to keep it out of or off of your body. The Globally Harmonized System pictograms is a simple system used to let you know about the hazards of chemicals in your workplace. Labels and pictograms are your first stop for information on chemical products. But there is more information on the product that won't fit on a label. That's when you need the Safety Data Sheet, or SDS. The SDS is broken down into 16 sections with the most important information at the beginning of the sheet. We're not going through all of the sections of a safety data sheet now, but there are a few important sections that you need to remember. The first 3 sections of the SDS provide information on the identification and the hazards of the product and the list of ingredients. Section 4 of an SDS covers first aid measures. This section shows what to do in case you get the chemical in your eyes, inhale it, get it on your skin, or swallow it. The first aid section also includes details on immediate and delayed health effects and provides information on when to seek medical help. Section 5 of the safety data sheet tells you if the product can burn or if it's affected when exposed to fire. You'll also see precautions and the right techniques and equipment you need to fight a fire with this chemical and the chemical hazard from fire. Section 6, Accidental Release Measures, provides information on what to do if the chemical spills, leaks, or is released, how to contain and clean up the released chemical, and what emergency procedures to follow. Handling and storage information is found in Section 7. This tells you the protective measures to take to minimize the risk of the chemical spilling or being released and recommendations for safely storing the product. Section 8, Exposure Controls and Personal Protection, describes the permissible exposure limits for the product, what engineering controls need to be taken, and what personal protective equipment is required while using the product. The last 8 sections provide additional detailed information on the chemical properties of the product, stability and reactivity, health and environmental information, proper product disposal and transportation, regulatory information, and finally, additional information such as the date that the SDS was created or revised. If you need more information than what is on the product label, make sure you know where to find a safety data sheet, or ask your supervisor where you can get a copy. Labels, safety data sheets, and your training is all part of our hazard communication program and helps you and your coworkers stay safe when you're working with chemicals. You may be working in areas that have powered equipment, processes, or electrical panels, and at times this equipment needs to be repaired or serviced. The people who perform this work may be at risk of coming in contact with moving parts, energized electrical conductors, or other things that could cause injuries. To protect our maintenance and service technicians, we have a procedure called lockout tagout. These procedures also protect you, your coworkers, and the equipment. Lockout tagout does 2 things. First, the lock protects against accidentally restarting the equipment or controls the unintentional release of hazardous energy by keeping a switch, valve, or disconnect in the off position. Second, the tag informs people working nearby that the equipment is shut down. This helps prevent someone from attempting to restart something while the service or maintenance technician is working on it. Your company has a lockout tagout program that lays out all the specific procedures you're going to want to follow to protect you, others, and the equipment. Let's start with a little who's who. There are authorized employees and affected employees. The folks who actually do the service or maintenance work are authorized employees. Only they can shut down, lock out, and tag out equipment for service or maintenance. Let's assume you won't be the one doing the actual service or maintenance work, so you're called an affected employee. That means you'll either operate on or work near the equipment. That means you may be affected by service or maintenance, so you need to know what's going on. First step, an authorized employee will tell you what equipment will be shut down and how long it will be shut down. Before they can do service or maintenance, they shut down the equipment and put a lock on the disconnect switch or valve. This physically prevents anyone from restarting or re-energizing the equipment. That's the lockout. Here's the tagout part. These tags make sure everyone knows what's going on. The tag shows you who placed the lock and is a visible reminder this equipment is shut down. The authorized person now releases any stored energy and checks to make sure the equipment will not start. Now it is safe for him or her to start the work on the equipment. So if you're an affected employee and you see these lockout devices and tags, Do not try to use the equipment, even if no one's working on it and it looks like the work is complete. If the lockout-tagout process interferes with your job, talk with your supervisor or manager. Once the service or maintenance work has been completed, an authorized employee will let you know when you can use the equipment again. That is our lockout-tagout program, and you can play an important part of this program by recognizing locks and tags and staying clear of the work process. That makes it safe for everyone. Bloodborne pathogens. Now you're saying, why the heck do I need to know anything about bloodborne pathogens? You need to know because sometimes someone gets a cut and there is the potential, although very small, that you could come in contact with someone else's blood. If there is blood, you need to know how to protect yourself and how it could affect you. That's why you need to know about bloodborne pathogens. Pathogens are microorganisms, viruses and bacteria, microscopic organisms that can give you a disease. Bloodborne means you'll find them in blood, semen, and other fluids. The three most common bloodborne pathogens are human immunodeficiency virus, or HIV, hepatitis B, or hepatitis C. All of them can have long-term effects, and that's one big reason for you to protect yourself from getting infected. Now, the first thing you should know is bloodborne pathogens are not transmitted by casual contact, like if you touch someone or share equipment or work in the same place. Even if you do get someone's infected blood or body fluids on your skin, it doesn't necessarily mean you're infected. The infected blood or body fluids have to get inside your body. How does it do that? 3 ways. Through mucous membranes, like your eyes, nose, and mouth. Through cuts, sores, rashes, or even dry, cracked skin. Or through a puncture wound, like when a needle or broken glass is contaminated with blood. Contaminated means there's a presence or a reasonable presence of blood or infectious materials. There are 3 ways to protect yourself. Be aware, use personal protective equipment, and be smart at work. To be aware, you need to follow a concept called universal precautions. This means you always assume all human blood and body fluids are infectious. When there's an injury and body fluids are present, ask yourself, is it wet and is it mine? If it's wet and it's not yours, follow universal precautions and use your personal protective equipment, like single-use gloves, so you keep potentially infectious fluids off of you. If you use gloves and they get contaminated, you remove them by turning them inside out. Put them in designated containers to be discarded or decontaminated. If you touched blood or body fluids or got some on your skin, you need to wash that area to prevent infection. Put your hands or other contaminated areas under warm running water. Work up a good lather with the soap and scrub the area. That abrasive action will get rid of any contaminants. Rinse well under warm running water. And dry your hands with a clean towel. If you don't have any water, use a waterless disinfectant hand cleaner. But as soon as you can, be sure to wash your hands and exposed skin. If you get any body fluids on cuts, sores, or cracked skin, immediately flood it with water. Then wash it with soap and water. After you wash it, you're not done. You're going to want to tell your supervisor or employer and get medical attention. Hopefully, you will never have to deal with a coworker who gets injured, but if you do your best to get help and protect yourself from bloodborne pathogens. Let's talk about what you need to do if there's an emergency, like if there's a fire, tornado, or someone is injured. A workplace emergency is an unexpected event that threatens people's health and safety or damages the building or equipment. A workplace emergency is an event that requires immediate action. Emergencies strike without warning, and you're just not going to have time to think. You need to take action, and you need to take it quickly. That can save lives, minimize injuries, and reduce property damage. Being prepared is not difficult. This means you're going to learn the evacuation routes, exits, and the places people should go after the evacuation and where the shelters are located. Routes should be marked, well lit, and kept clear at all times. If you are not the one designated to perform life-saving first aid techniques, fight the fire, or contain a chemical spill, you need to know where you can find someone who can. All this helps you be prepared when an emergency takes place. Let's go through some of the things you'll need to know. Make sure you know and understand the emergency warning system at your location. It might be a horn, or a flashing light, or an announcement over the intercom. If you are the first one to recognize that there's an emergency like a fire, you gotta warn others. You might be the one who has to activate an alarm, call someone, or yell for help. Make sure you know the numbers and the people to call for your work area. How you act during an emergency is really pretty simple. In every emergency, stay calm and follow directions. If you have to evacuate the building, use the nearest exit. Let your supervisor or manager know that you are safe, and don't leave the property unless someone in charge tells you to. Let's take a look at emergency response procedures for specific situations, starting with medical emergencies. Medical emergencies are some of the most common and can be the most frightening. Here again, stay calm and in control. When someone gets hurt, immediately shout for help. If you need additional help, notify your supervisor and call 911 or other designated phone number. Once they tell you help is on the way, have someone wait at the entrance so they can guide responders to the emergency site and steer them clear of any hazards. Now, you're not going to want to move the victim unless you have to move them away from physical danger. Remember, you always want to keep yourself safe. This includes protecting yourself against blood-borne pathogens. Another emergency that might occur involves the weather. Tornadoes, thunderstorms, and high winds. They happen pretty much everywhere, so there's a pretty good chance your company, sooner or later, is going to deal with severe weather. If that happens, stay away from windows or outside doors. If you hear that a storm may affect your facility, take shelter. And don't leave the shelter area until the all-clear signal is given. If the storm damages your facility, there could be downed electrical lines or structural damage, so proceed with caution. Now, let's talk about fires. What you need to do is very simple. If you discover a fire, pull an alarm, contact security, or notify a supervisor so they can call 911 and get out of the building. Unless you have been trained, don't be a hero and grab a fire extinguisher. Just get out and be safe. Be sure to close doors leading to the fire area, but don't lock them. If you have a designated evacuation meeting place, check in to let everyone know that you are safely out of the building. Once again, don't get in your car and leave the property unless you are told to do so. When it comes to emergencies, what you do could save a life or minimize loss. Calm action, combined with following a designated plan and having confidence because you know what you're doing, will help you deal with the unexpected, so you can get back to work safely. Hopefully, you will work here for a very long time and never have an injury. But let's say that you do get hurt. After you get that minor cut or slip and fall on the ice in the parking lot, what's the first thing you do? Report all injuries. Even if you don't think it's very important, you want to report an injury right away. For example, a minor cut. Even a minor cut can get infected. Don't think you can tough it out. Get treatment and report it to your supervisor. Or let's say you got lucky and just avoided a major injury or incident. You might think, I don't have to report that. Well, your company really wants you to report everything, even close calls. See, if you just avoided an incident, your company still wants to hear about it even if nobody got hurt or nothing got broken. That way, they can investigate the incident, assess your job safety, and make sure proper safety procedures are in place so that incident won't ever happen again. So let's back up and say there is an injury. What do you do? First, make sure that anyone who is injured gets medical attention right away. Not tomorrow or at the end of the day. Right now. Next, immediately notify your supervisor. If you can, don't let anyone tamper with the area until there is a chance to investigate. Moving just one thing can destroy evidence of what caused the incident or injury to happen. Also, make a note, write it down, or try to remember the details of what happened. You might be asked to help file a report or assist with an investigation. Don't forget, an incident or injury is bad. Not properly reporting it is worse. Always report all injuries, incidents, and close calls so your company can respond appropriately, investigate thoroughly, and prevent them from ever happening again. In addition to following all the safety precautions your new company just laid out for you, all the procedures, all the PPE, and all the precautions, your new company is also asking you to help them find even more ways to make your workplace safer. Keep your eyes open. If you see a potential safety hazard, let your supervisor know. No one can identify problem areas better than you and all the people who work here. You have a new job. Congratulations. You're expected to follow all work procedures and work efficiently, but there's no job so important, no deadline so urgent that prevents you from taking the time to make sure you work safely. Your company cares about your well-being and has done what they can to keep the workplace safe. Now they're counting on you to do your part and make safety part of your job every time you come to work.